So again, we're going to take all of these cards that we have over here. We're going to shuffle them. I don't want to spend too much time with gold and everything, especially since Rome has 1 gold. We're just going to see who is going to decide on the starting player and the direction of play. So we're going to have here for Carthage, Rome, and Greece. Let's see what's going to happen. That is 1. Over here we have 2. So that means that again, Greece decides who is going to be the starting player and how it's going to go. So Greece will decide to stay the first player, and they're going to have after that Rome going after them. So we're going to place this one on Rome, and again, of course, it will be Carthage after. And after we have finished with that, we can move again to the agent phase. Moving on to the agent phase, now we're going to deal the action cards according to the limit or to the new limit of the different factions. So since Greece, for example, does not have the extra agents improvement, we're going to deal to them 5 cards. And then if we remember, Rome did do the extra agents improvement, they're going to receive 6 cards. And then for Carthage, we're going to deal only 4 cards since they have the limit of 5 cards and they still carry with them from the last round 1 action cards. So we're going to complete for them only 4 cards. So let's start with the cards that we have right over here with Greece. They have some interesting choices. So I think the first thing that we're going to do is try and trade over here with Carthage. So let's place this card right over here, and Greece can already use the agent that we have right over here in Carthage. And pay attention that Carthage now has not only a market over here, but they also have a market over here. Now, when you're having a market in a region that has a port, then when you're trading either passively or actively, you're going to receive 1 more gold for each region that contains a market. Of course, again, with a port. So both factions have a marker in the friendly area in the diplomatic track. So that means that both of them are going to receive 3 gold, but Carthage on the other side does have these 2 ports, and also they have the improvement of trade fleet. That means gain 1 extra gold for each side when trading. So Greece is going to receive 3 gold, actually 4, I'm sorry, 3, the normal one, plus 1 for the improvement of Carthage, so that's 4 gold. And Carthage is going to receive 4 plus 2, that is 6 gold for Carthage. So not so bad for the first trade, and this card can go right over here. And I think that the second thing that they will do is to use this card right over here. So we're going to have some protests. Let's see. I think that Greece is going to stay right over here, and Greece is just going to add the unrest token right over here in the capital of Rome. And let's see if we have other cards they can use. Not really, but they do like both of these cards. They're going to keep it right next to their board. And this card they're going to sell right for the value that you can see right over here. That is 3 more gold for Greece. Now that they have finished their agent phase, we're going to move on to Rome, which is the next faction in play. As we have mentioned before, Rome did do the extra agents improvement and they bought an extra agent, so that will allow them to do 3 agent actions, which is pretty cool, to be honest. The action that they will try to do is the sabotage. So when we want to do this, we're going to move our agent to another player's market or barracks, and then we're going to roll the red die, and we're going to see what is the outcome. So let's place this card right over here, and they're going to deploy their new agent. From here, they're going to move 1, 2, and 3, again over here, and they're going to try and target, I think, the barracks. So let's roll this red die and see what's going to happen. And we have an X. An X means that this agent is dead, so unfortunately they'll have to remove it, and if they want to use it again, they will have to buy an agent in the next spending phase. This card is going to go to the discard pile. The next action that they will try to do is assassination, so let's put this card right over here. They'll move 1, 2, 3, and 4 right over here. When we're trying to assassinate a general, we're going to roll 1 red die, and we're going to see what is the outcome. If we would have tried to assassinate an agent, we would have rolled 2 dice and then just choose the better outcome. So let's see what is going to happen. And we have here an X, so again, the Romans really don't have good luck over here. So this agent is also going to die, and they will have to buy it again if they would want to use it. This card is going to go to the discard pile. And the last action, right, because we have here a third agent, I think what they're going to do is just a simple trade action, which is actually going to be very advantageous to the Carthage faction, but the Romans need to have some money as well. So since the marker is situated in the neutral area, so Rome is going to have 3 gold, right? 2 because of the neutral and +1 thanks to the improvement of Carthage. But Carthage, on the other side, is going to have 2 + 1, that is 3, + 2 again for the 2 market, that is 5 gold. They would like to keep 1 card with them, and the other 2 they're going to sell for the gold value of 2. And now that we have finished this agent phase with Rome, we're going to move on to the last faction, which is Carthage. Carthage really doesn't appreciate all the attempts by Rome to sabotage their place. So what they're going to do, first of all, before using the agents, is using this card right over here that is called Rioting. And we can place 2 unrest markers in a home region. So we're going to take these 2 markers and we're going to place it, let's say right over here. I think it's going to do the most damage. So this card we can get rid of. Then they're going to do another trade action right over here with Greece. So again, Greece is going to receive 3 + 1, that is 4, right? 3 because they're friendly, and 1 more because of the improvement of Carthage. And Carthage is also going to have 4 + 2, that is 6. So Carthage is doing pretty well money-wise. That is the first action, and let's see what is the second one. I think that what they will try to do is going to try and assassinate the general that we have right over here. So they're going to use this card, and they're going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, right, from one port to another. Then they're going to roll a red die, so the one that we have over here, and they have a skull, which is amazing, of course, for Carthage. So we're going to take a look at army number 3 that we have over here with the Romans. And actually, their general is right now eliminated, and it's going to go back to the reserve cards that we have next to the playing area of Rome. And now basically we have a leaderless army that is still okay. There is no problem with that. I mean, game-wise, it's a little bit problematic for the Romans, but that was a pretty good action for Carthage. 1 card they would like to leave with them, and another card they're going to sell it, maybe not for a lot, but it's better than nothing. Now that we have finished with that, we're going to go to the taxation phase. So let's start again with Greece and see what's going to happen. We have over here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and here we have nothing. Moving on to Rome, let's see what's going to happen. We have here 1, 3, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 gold for Rome. And let's see what's going to happen with Carthage. So we have here 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. And it's important to say that if we would have had a faction that would have made 20 in the taxation phase, they would have received 1 victory point. If you have between 25 and 30, that is 2 victory points. Between 30 and 40, that is 3 victory points. And over 40, that is 4 victory points. So now that we have finished the taxation phase, we're going to move on to the campaign phase. So in this campaign phase, guys, I want to show you some examples of combat, let's say at least 2, so we understand a little bit at least how a basic, very basic combat actually works. In order to do that, if you'll excuse me, I just want to change the position of army number 4 and army number 2. Again, guys, I know it's not as accurate as I would have liked it to be, okay? But it's a little bit important just so we can see more examples. So the first thing that Greece would like to do is to use one of the cards that they have kept from before. That is a disease card. So it says, blindly remove a random army card from any opponent's army, can be played before a battle. So great, we can use that because it says any phase. Let's discard this card. And now, since we're targeting this army, army number 2, we're going to take the corresponding army deck and we're going to shuffle it, of course, and then we're going to just draw one card in random. So the first one, and that is a main combat card that is definitely going to hurt army number 2. So we're going to take this card and we're going to put it in the reserve deck next to Rome's playing area. And now Greece is going to take their first action, and that is to spend one movement point to move right over here, and we're going to trigger a combat. Now, with your permission, I'm just going to go over the rules that we have in the rulebook just to make sure that we haven't forgotten anything, and also you'll be able to follow it with me. So, the first thing that we're having is preparing the battle. That is phase 1. In order to do that, first of all, we need to understand what is the difficult terrain that we have in that region. So, if I can draw your attention over here, we can see that we have two markers of trees, okay? These two icons. So every time that we're seeing trees or this sign of mountains, and it really doesn't matter which one, we know that we have difficult terrain in that value. So in our case, it's going to be too difficult terrain. Now, some generals or different effects will be able to affect how much of difficult terrain we're going to have, either more or less. But again, I just want to show you some basic examples, so we're not going to deal with that. Then we're going to compare between the generals. So we're going to take army number 1 of Greece, and we're going to take army number 2 of Rome, and then we're going to see what are their generals. So for Greece, we're going to have 4-star general, and the same thing we're going to have for the Roman army. Now, since both of them are 4-star generals, we're not going to have here a special effect of revealing cards, but just for you to know, and you'll understand it a little bit better when we're going to see the actual combat, if one general has more stars than the other one, then the delta between their stars is how many cards the higher ranked general will be able to reveal during combat. Now over here you can see that the Greek general has a special effect that is called Battlefield Expert. That means that they can increase or decrease the difficult terrain by 1. But again, we don't want to deal with that, so we're going to ignore that. And over here for the Roman general, we have Morale Booster. That is something that allows them to heal a wound 1 time per combat. But I think since we're going to ignore this special effect, we're going to ignore this one as well, just to make it a little bit more fair. The last thing that we need to do in the preparing the battle phase is to see the battle zones. Now, my skills over here are not so superior, but in general, for each side, we're going to have 3 zones. So the first zone, the one that is closest to the player, is considered to be the safe zone. Then one zone further away is going to be the active zone, and then the zone in the middle is actually the dead zone. This is where we're going to put the soldiers that have died. Now that we understand that, we're going to move to the second phase, which is fight for terrain. Now here, we're going to have number of combats that correspond to the number of difficult terrain that we have in that region. I remind you again that in our case it's 2. So we're going to have 2 small combats for the fight for terrain. In this case, we have to commit the number of cards according to the battle, 1 at a time, of course. Then we know that only a foot skirmisher troop can be sent alone, but of course they can be stacked with another main battle card. I'm not so sure that we're going to see it this time, but this is something to put in mind. So you know what, guys, let's see how the fight for terrain actually works, and we're going to continue from there. So now secretly, each faction is going to choose which card or cards they would wish to deploy to the active zone. So from here, from the Roman army, we can see that we have only 1 skirmisher. So we're going to send this card, and it's going to be like this. The general, of course, is waiting for us here, and the other cards for now are going to be right over here. The same thing the Greek army is going to do. So let's say again that the general stays over here safe, and let's see if we have some skirmishers we have two skirmishers over here, and we're going to send one of them. So it's going to be sent just like this, and the rest of the cards we can place over here. And now they're going to reveal it at the same time. So I just want to take you back and talk about revealing cards. If one of the general has a superior rank than the other one, let's just for the example say that the Greek general is a 4-star and the Roman general is a 3-star. So that means that the Greek can have one reveal in all of this combat, okay? Not only in this specific fight for terrain, but the entire battle, entire combat, to reveal one card and then change their decision. Okay, since this is not the case, they're going to reveal it at the same time. So this is the first one and this is the other one. Since both of them are skirmishers, and of course, again, I remind you, foot skirmishers, because only them can be sent alone like this, they're going to roll the dice according to what we can see in the difficult terrain section. So over here for the Romans, we can see that we have 2 white dice. And over here for the Greek, we can see that we have only 1 white die. So they're going to do it simultaneously, but let's just do it one at a time. For the Romans, we're going to roll it, and we see that we have S and a blank. So a blank, of course, is nothing, but an S, we need to see what is happening over here. Now, over here in this card, I'm going to put it on your screen, we can see that we have a skull. That means that we're going to kill someone if it answers that specific criteria. What is the criteria? That is either an elephant, we don't have here an elephant, so that is not the case, or a foot troop, but that has a skirmisher. So if it was not a skirmisher, it would not do anything. But since this is not only an infantry, but an infantry skirmisher, then they're going to kill it immediately, right? A skull means death. So we know that this guy is dead, but let's just wait for it and see what they're going to roll. So they're going to roll and they have a wound. Now, when we have a wound, we need to tap the card that they just wounded 90 degrees, just like this, and they're going to stay over here in the active zone. But as a reminder, the other side, right, the Romans have killed this unit, so this unit is going to advance over here, and this is the dead zone. Now, because I don't have here a lot of place, we're going to have the same row for both armies, but in general, you need to have one row for one army and another row for the second army. But again, I'm sorry for that, so we're going to leave it for now just like this. Now, this was the first fight for difficult terrain, and now we need to have another one, right? Because we said that we're going to have 2 fight for the terrain, because we have 2 difficult terrain in our region. So let's see what's going to happen over here. We have another skirmisher for the Greek army. This card right over here, I'm sorry. So they're going to place it right over here. And for the Roman army, we can see that we don't have any more skirmishers, but we have to send nonetheless one of our troops. So I think that what we're going to do is going to send this one that we have right over here. So we're going to place it just like this. Now we're going to reveal the cards and see what's going to happen. So 1 and 1. And the thing is that because we have on the one side skirmisher, we're going to roll for them first. And soon you'll understand how come this guy is not going to roll dice at all. So in difficult terrain, we can see that we have 1 white die and 1 black die. Let's see what's going to happen. And we have here S, which is a special, but on this specific card, that is Cretan archers, we don't have anything in special. So that means that we don't have here any effect. It's like a blank. So there is nothing over here. This guy is going to now go back to the safe zone under the general. Cards are going to go under the general only in the fight for terrain phase. Now, since this guy went back, this guy doesn't have anything to do. Okay, he cannot attack anyone, but at least they're going to stay safe. So again, safe in the fight for terrain phase is going to go under the general just like this. Still, we have here in the active zone a wounded soldier, right? And we have here a dead soldier. Now that we have finished with the fight for terrain, we're going to move to phase 3, which is a fight for the flanks. So we have finished with the difficult terrain, and from now on, we're going to roll only for the good going terrain that we have, that is with this symbol of the grass, let's say it like that. and all cavalry or chariot cards are played here. Now, each side has to declare how many mounted units they have, and according to the lower number between the two, we're going to see how many combats we're going to have. So since the Roman army have over here 1 mounted unit, let's see how many the Greeks have. The Greeks have here 1 and actually 2, and that's it. So the lower number between of them is 1, and that means that we're going to have here only 1 combat. So the Roman army are going to send their card like this, and the Greek army is going to send, you know what, let's send maybe the better card just like this, and we're going to reveal them at the same time. So this is 1, and this is 2. Now, both of them are going to roll simultaneously their dice according to the good terrain. So for the Greek mounted unit, it's going to be yellow and white, and for the Roman mounted unit, it's going to be only yellow. But again, let's do it one by one. So for the Romans, let's see what's going to happen. We have here a blank, and for the Greek, it's going to be 1 white and 1 yellow. And we have here special, and we have here a wound. Now, when we have here a wound, we're going to first of all wound the soldier that is already wounded. So we do remember that we have here this guy that is already wounded, right? Now it's going to be killed. So I'm just going to put it right over here. And we have a special. So special, let's see what does it mean. And we're going to take the champion's card. We're going to work it together. We're going to see that they're going to kill either a chariot or a cavalry or an infantry. And it doesn't matter what is the subcategory of that unit. Since over here we have cavalry, they're going to kill them immediately. So that is pretty good for that side. We're going to place this guy over here. And now since this guy survived, we're not going to put it under the general, right? Because it's not a fight for terrain. They're going to stay in the safe zone, but next to the general. Now that we have finished the fight for the flanks, we're going to move over to fight for the center. So again, we're going to look only at the good going area when we need to see which dice we have to roll. Both players must use all the remaining foot troops, elephant, and artillery. That is pretty important. And there must be at least 2 combats if the cards allow it. And of course, using alternative cards other than those that we've just mentioned, the foot, elephant, and artillery, if none are available. Now, you can send over here skirmishers and artillery, but you have to stack them with a main combat card. I'm not so sure we're going to see it, but this is something that is good to remember. And we have a little bit more rules over here that I'm not going to spend time again because I want to show you just the basic things as possible. So the first card that the Romans are going to send, they don't have a lot, right? And we need to have at least 2 combats over here. So they're going to send this guy just like this. And the Greeks are going to send one of their hoplites. So let's place it right over here and see what's going to happen. Now we're flipping both of these cards, and they're going to roll their good going dice simultaneously. So here we have 2 white dice, and here we have 1 yellow, 1 white. Let's see what's going to happen. So only special. Let's roll for them and see what's going to happen. And here we have special as well. So special actually over here in the hoplite cards means that they're going to prevent the damage if it was carried out by either a cavalry or a chariot. It's neither of the case, right? So it is basically like a blank. Here on the other side with the Republican legionnaires, the special means that they're going to have a kill if the unit is infantry, of course, of either of the subunits that is close or loose or flexible. Well, over here we can see with the hoplites that they are from the subcategory of close, so they're going to die. So we can take this card and place it right over here, and this guy can go and be safe next to the general. Now we're going to continue to the next round. The Romans have the last card over here, and I think that the Greek are going to try and change a little bit and send the Illyrian infantry. So we're going to flip now both of the cards to see what's going to happen. And we're going to have a green die over here. So let's roll and see what's going to happen. we have here a wound, and over here we have one yellow, one white. Let's see what's going to happen. And we have here 2 wounds. Wow, that is pretty nice. So, of course, 2 wounds is like a kill. They're going to take this card and place it right over here. And this card is going to stay wounded in the active zone. Now that we had the 2 combats, but the Roman army doesn't have any more cards, the Greek army can still continue and sending troops to try and target either the wounded soldier over here or the soldier that we had here that was safe. So the Greek are going to do exactly that, sending another hoplite right over here. Let's roll the 2 white dice that we have. And we have here special and wound. So first of all, wound, if we're going to apply it over here to the already wounded soldier, that is going to die. And special, their special doesn't do any kind of damage. They can only prevent damage. So it's pretty much nothing. And this card is going to go back next to their general. Now they're going to send their next unit that they have, so they're going to target, of course, this guy right over here. Let's see what's going to happen, and that is a wound. So if we have wound, we're going to take it and place it wounded in the active zone. Now the Greek army has only 1 card left, and that is not an infantry. We're going to move on to the next phase, number 5, that is the envelopment. A player with the remaining mounted troops. So let's see what we have over here. And we do have over here Thessalian cavalry. Let's put it right over here for now. Can do an envelopment. So of course we're going to again roll dice according to the good going dice. Then cards can attack any troop cards in the active zone or in the safe zone. We already have here a wounded guy in the active zone and nothing in the safe zone next to the general. Also, they may reroll any dice roll. So that is pretty sweet, and actually the envelopment is a super crucial thing in combat. So let's see what's going to happen. And of course I forgot to place this hoplite right over here in the safe zone. So they're deploying for the envelopment this unit right over here. They have a yellow die. Let's see what's going to happen. And we have here a wound. That means that this guy is being killed and being moved over here. They really don't need to reroll anything because they cannot target anyone else and it doesn't make sense. But if they would have had a blank, for example, then of course, because it's the envelopment and we have here a mounted unit, they would have been able to reroll. Now they're going to go back to the safe zone and we're going to move to the last phase, which is number 6, determine the victor. So now we need to count pretty much the dead units from each army. And the army that killed the most main combat cards, I repeat, main combat cards, will be declared as the victor. So let's see what's going to happen. Over here we have a skirmisher, so we don't care about that. We can immediately place it in the reserve deck of the Greek army. And we can see that we have 2 main combat cards that were killed. On the other side, the Roman dead soldiers that we have here a skirmisher. So again, we don't care about that. We can place it already in the reserve deck. But we have here 3 main combat cards. So that means that actually the Greek army has won this combat. So a few things are going to happen over here. First of all, we need to see if this is a regular victory or a total victory. A total victory is if we are the victors and we have destroyed an enemy army that started with 4 or more troop cards. Now we do remember obviously that the Romans started with more than 4 troop cards, and they're being destroyed because even though they have over here a general and a main combat card, we remember that an army in order to exist needs to have at least 2 main combat cards. So everything that we have over here has been destroyed and we did annihilate this army. So when we're having a total victory, first of all, we're going to receive 2 victory points. So that's great for the Greek faction. So we're going to move 1 and 2 right over here. And then we're going to have some more effects. First of all, we'll be able to recover up to 2 troop cards of our choice from the dead zone. That is pretty sweet because this is what we've had. So I apologize, I should have left this card over here. And we can recover 2 of them. So I think that we're going to leave this skirmisher outside and we're going to recover these 2 main combat cards. They're going to come right over here. On top of that, now we can upgrade 2 troop cards in our army to veterans. So we're going to use our reserve in order to do that. Let's start first of all with taking all of the cards of the Roman player and place it in the reserve since it was annihilated. Also, we can already take this miniature and put it back in the playing area of the Roman player. And now we can upgrade. So we can choose 2 units from what we have over here and then look for their veteran version in the cards and change them. For example, we can take this Thessalian, oh my God, I really hope that I pronounce it okay, cavalry, and we have here the veteran, so we're going to replace them. This is going back to the main deck, and this is going to stay right over here. That is the first upgrade. And also we're going to take one of the hoplites that we have and we're going to change it with a veteran hoplites, okay? So this is going to stay right over here and this one is going to go back to the main deck. The last thing that you're going to do is to roll to see if our general is improved by rolling 1 skull die using the dice color shown on the general card. So we're going to look at the general card and we're going to look at the bottommost die that they have right over here. So if they're going to roll an X with the white dice, they're going to be upgraded 1 time. And if they're going to have a skull, they're going to be upgraded 2 times. Since this is already a 4-star general and the maximum that we can have is 5, it doesn't really matter, we just want to upgrade it. So let's see what's going to happen. And we have here an X. So what we're going to do is search in the deck for a 5-star general. And we do have here, ladies and gentlemen, Alexander the Great, and we're going to place this general over here, and this general is going to go back to the main deck. And with that, we have finished the procedure of combat. Now, if it was a normal victory, okay, not a total victory, we would have received only 1 victory point and recover only 1 of our units from the dead zone. Now this new and improved army can go back over here to the playing area, and as you can see right over here, the Romans obviously have lost the control over this region, and we're just going to replace it with a token of the Greek faction. Moving on, for Greece it's not so enough and they're going to move and try to conquer this area as well. So again, because we don't have here an army, we're going to roll 2 green dice just as it was an independent region. So okay, they're going to say goodbye to 1 skirmisher and 1 main combat card, which is pretty sad. So this skirmisher is going to go back over here, and 1 main combat card, I think we're going to say goodbye to 1 of the hoplite, going to go over here, but at least they're going to gain control over this region. So we're just going to change the marker over here to show that this is now in control of the Greece faction. And I think that this army is going to stay right over here in its position, and we're going to finish moving with them. Now we have army number 4 that is still fresh, so let's see what they're going to pop. And I think that they're going to start right over here in this home region, and they're going to use 2 movement points in order to remove these 2 unrest tokens back to the supply. And the last movement point that they're going to use, since they have a pretty large army with number 4, is to move over here and try their luck again. So 2 red dice and 1 yellow die. Let's see, and we have here 2 kills. Sorry about that. And right now they need to say goodbye to 2 main combat cards. So that is no problem. These are 2 skirmishers, and they're going to take out 1 hoplite and 1 peltastoi. I again hope that I pronounce it correctly. They're going to put it over here, but at least they gain control on a very important area with mercenaries. Let's put a marker right over here. And since we don't have any more armies and they do not wish to move their ships, we have finished with the campaign phase of Greece and we're moving on to Rome. Rome is still licking its wounds from the last battle, but they would like to try and show you something interesting. As you remember, we have this fleet right over here with army number 1 on it. So they're going to move 1 over here, right? This is a straight, so there's no problem to move over here with a ship. And they're going to deploy their army from their ship over here to one of these regions. I think we're going to do it over here. So they spent 1 movement point. To disembark, it's going to cost them 1 movement point and for their army as well. So they're going to land over here, and now they have to try and take control over this region. So far, we have seen what is happening if we're trying to take control of an independent region. But this is a home region of another faction. So all home regions are considered to be garrisoned. Now, when we need to attack a garrisoned area, we're going to roll only red dice, and we're going to roll according to the gold value +1. Since this is only 1, +1 will be, of course, 2. If we would have had a barracks over there, then it would have been a +1, and there are different effects, but less important for this playthrough. So right now we're going to roll 2 red die that, as you already understood, are the strongest ones, and let's see what's going to happen. So we roll, and we have 1 wound and 1 kill. So 1 wound we don't care, but we're going to have 1 main combat card that we're going to say goodbye to from army number 1 of the Romans. So I think what they're going to do is just say goodbye to one of these Republican legionnaires. We're going to put it right over here. After the invading army has taken the damage, it does not yet conquer the region. The attacking army then needs to make an attack roll using 1 green dice for every infantry main battle card that they have, plus any good going dice from any artillery, but we do not have any, so it's not important so much. And also we're going to roll a die for the general as shown on the general card. So we already know that in this army we have left with 2 infantry units. So we're going to have 2 green dice. And also we have over here Scipio Africanus. And we're going to look at this die that we have over here. That is a yellow die. Now we need to make sure that in this roll we're going to have a better outcome than what we can see over here. So we already know, of course, that skull is the priority, and then the X's, and then the S that we can find on the dice. So let's roll the dice over here and see what's going to happen. So we have here 2 skulls, which is actually great because 2 skulls is obviously better than a skull and an X. And that means that this Roman army is going to take control over this region. So we're going to take this marker and we're going to place it right over here so they control it. And I think that they do not want to take another chance and move to a different area, right? Because we saw that it's pretty difficult against this red die. So they're going to rest just over there. We still have army number 4 over here and army number 3, but the Romans are still not sure what is going to happen and they don't have a lot of cards in their armies. So for now, the Rome faction has finished their campaign phase and moving on to Carthage. Carthage has some interesting options and they're going to try and conquer some more regions with army number 2 that they have in North Africa. Let's see how does that go. So we're going to take this unit, move it over here. We're going to roll 2 green dice. And they have 1 kill, of course. So we're going to take out 1 main combat card. Let's take this citizen spearman and put it right over here in their deck. And they're going to take control over this region. Let's put it right over here. It's a little bit risky for them, but there are 2 mercenary areas that can actually help them. You know what? Let's take the risk and move over here, rolling 3 green combat die. Let's see what's going to happen. Cross fingers for Carthage. And we have here 1 more kill, right? Because 1 wound alone doesn't mean anything to us. So they're going to take out another one of their main combat cards, and they still have 2 main combat cards in their army, so that is just enough to survive. But that was, guys, a pretty strong and important win for Carthage. Let's place this token right over here. Obviously, that army is not going to do anything else. And we're going to move on to army number 3 over here that is going to try and take out this army number 3 of the Romans. So with 2 movement points, right, because they need to cross these mountains, they're going to move over here. Let's roll 2 green dice. Oh my God, we have here a kill. That is really not so good for them, but let's see what's going to happen. So they're going to, let's say, take out this Libyan spearman. And now we have only 1 more movement point, but they need 2 more to move over here. So now they wish to use the last action card that they didn't use before, that is called Forced March. 1 extra land movement for 1 army, but it can be cancelled by difficult travels. That is actually another card that a different faction can use, but we don't have any, and it can be used in the campaign phase. So that's great because we are in the campaign phase. So actually we have 2 more movement points. This card we can discard right over here. So they are going to move over here, not before, of course, leaving a marker. I apologize. And they're going to trigger another combat because this is why we're here, guys, right? So now that we know a little bit how everything is going to happen, I'm going to try and do it a little bit faster. And the thing is that the Carthage army has a 3-star general. Let's place it right over here. But the thing is that the Romans don't have general, if you remember from the last round. So that's actually going to give Carthage the advantage of revealing 3 cards, which is exactly what the Roman player has right over here. So basically, we can already reveal the 3 cards that we have over here. I hope that you understand what is going on. So let's see, first of all, what is the difficult terrain that we have over here. Let's move these 2 miniatures, and we see that we have 4 difficult terrains. Okay, so that means that we're going to have 4 combat in Fight for the Terrain phase. The first card that Carthage is going to send is this one right over here. And the Roman, again, I remind you, have to commit cards for this. So they're going to send this guy over here. Both of them are in the active zones. And this is where they're going to roll a black die, right, in the difficult terrain. Let's see what's going to happen. We have here nothing. So this guy is going to go under the general, and this guy is considered to be safe over here. Now for the second round, of course, the Roman player has to commit a card. And now I want to show you something, and that is a skirmisher that is being accompanied by a main battle card, okay? They want to make sure that they're going to win this battle. So let's see what's going to happen. First of all, the skirmisher is going to take its shot. So that is a white die, as we can see right over here. That is a blank, so nothing. And they're going to go back under the general. But now, since we do have over here 2 main combat cards, both of them are infantry, they're going to fight each other. But the thing is, and this is why Carthage done that, is because here they have only 1 white die, and here they have 1 yellow die. So chances, of course, are leaning towards Carthage. Let's see what's going to happen, and they do roll a skull. Let's see what's happening over here. They have a blank, so that was a smart decision for Carthage. And this guy is dead, that is the dead zone. And this guy, since this is still Fight for Terrain, is going to go under the general over here. Now we have the last card that is going to be deployed. So let's move on and see what's going to happen. And they're going to send this guy right over here. So both of them, since this is not a skirmisher, both of them are going to roll white dice. Here we have a blank, and here we have a wound. Okay, so this guy is wounded, this guy is safe going under the general, and we still have 1 more card of Carthage that they can send. Now in this phase, if one faction is out of cards, the opposing player can target not only the wounded guys over here, but also the safe guys that are under the general. So that is pretty good, even though they still have here 1 white die. So let's see what is going to happen. So they have here a wound. So of course, this guy that is already wounded is going to be in the kill zone, and this guy is going to go back under their general. And since neither of the factions have any more cards, basically the combat is finished. So we have 2 dead guys for the Romans and 0 for Carthage. So obviously the Carthage has won. And even though they destroyed the entire army, because 1 main combat card cannot survive on its own, that will not be considered a total victory, because the initial army was not containing 4 or more cards. So what's going to happen, first of all, that all of these cards are going to go back to the reserve of the Romans. Here we don't have any dead for Carthage, so they're not going to try to revive one of them to go back into their deck. But we are going to roll a die for the general to see if they're going to be upgraded. And also, we can upgrade, right, one card that we have to a veteran. Let's roll for the general and see what is happening. And we have here an X. That means that they're going to be upgraded by 1. So from a 3-star general, they're going to have a 4-star general, which is this guy that we have right over here. So they're going to replace it. This general is going to go back to the deck. And now they can upgrade. So let's start with upgrading the Libyan Spearman. This is the upgraded version, as we can see right now. All of these cards are going to go back over here to the position of army number 3. The miniature of army number 3 for the Romans is going back to their board because this army has been annihilated. And of course, now they took control over this region. So we're just going to swap the markers just like this. A very good turn for almost everyone besides the Romans, which is, well, it is what it is. Now we have army number 1 that is situated over here, and with the more cards that they have, they decided to try and conquer a little bit more. So let's move one step over here and roll 2 green die, and we have here a kill. So let's see which card we're going to take out, and I think this is expensive mercenary. Let's take out this card back to the deck and put, of course, a marker over here. And then they're going to move another one over here. So let's roll again, see what's happening. And oh my God, that is another kill. So that is kind of brutal. And I think they're going to take out this Hispanic cavalry over here. But of course, to control over this region. And because they have one more movement point, they will not be able to cross the mountain chain that we have over here. So they're going to rest over there, and we're going to place the rest of the cards of army number 1 back in its place. And with that, guys, we have finished the second campaign phase, moving on to the spending phase. So again, this phase needs to happen simultaneously between all the factions, but since the camera is already situated with Carthage, let's start with them, if that is okay with you. First of all, we're going to spend 4 coins over here to do the next improvement of mercenaries, and we can move this marker over here because obviously if this is upgraded, then of course we already have this improvement, no problem with that. Also, let's do these 2 improvements, so together that is 5. That will allow us to put 2 markers over here, and since now we have completed a column of upgrades, we're going to have 1 victory point right over here. By the way, I forgot that Carthage already had 1 victory point because of their military victory before, so they're already in 2. On top of that, they're going to spend 2 gold in order to build barracks right over here at the front. And why? Because I remind you that if at some point they would like to spawn a new army on the board, they can do it if they have a barracks over here. On top of that, they really like what is happening when they're trading, so they're going to build, let's see, 1 market over here. They're going to have another market over here, so that is already 4. And they're also going to build walls, which cost 2 gold, and they're going to place it right over here in preparation for building here maybe later a wonder, but we're not going to see it in this playthrough. One thing that I forgot, guys, and of course I have to do it as quickly as possible, so I apologize for that. Of course, when you're starting a war, okay, when you're attacking another faction, you immediately become enemies. So since Carthage has attacked Rome, of course, this marker is going to enemy, and of course, the same marker is going to go on the Roman diplomatic track. And of course, the same is going to happen with the diplomatic track for the relationship between Greece and Rome. So Rome basically is enemy of both of the factions. Okay, after we have understood that, we still have 20 gold to spend. That is pretty sweet. I think I'm not going to take too much time. They're going to spend some more money maybe on getting some war elephants, which is a unit that now they can take, maybe upgrading their ship or having this agent over here on their board available to the next round. And with these guys, I think that we have seen here quite a lot of things for, let's call it maybe a first playthrough or something like that. So guys, thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate it. I hope that you had a good time. If you have any questions or maybe corrections for the playthrough that I've done here, please let me know. Take care, and I'll see you next time.